Alright, gang, I was gonna jump right into the how to, but I think I need to preface it with something more important. So, if you're a party rental business owner and you've ever posted on Facebook or boosted a post, ran retargeting ads, handed out flyers, printed brochures, used QR codes, sent a text message, or shared your website link somewhere, this video is for you. Because today we're talking about something most party rental owners are doing every single week, and that is marketing. But we're also talking about the part most people are not doing, and that's tracking what actually worked. And I don't mean guessing, I mean actually knowing. So the funny thing is, most party rental owners are doing way more marketing than they even realize. Every time you make a post about a water slide on Facebook, every time you update your Google business profile, that's marketing. Every time you hand out a school flyer, that's marketing. Put a lawn sign out somewhere at a setup, that's marketing. Every time you send a past customer a text message about weekend availability, that's marketing. The problem usually isn't that party rental owners aren't marketing. The problem is they're doing all of this stuff and then trying to figure out later what actually worked. So let's say somebody books a bounce house or a water slide. Great, that's what we want. But when the question becomes, where did that customer actually come from? And a lot of times we don't really know. We say things like, maybe it was Facebook, maybe it was Google, maybe they saw a flyer, maybe they saw our setup at the neighbor's house. And I get it, because I've been in this business since 2009. This is exactly how a lot of businesses operate. The problem is, if you don't know where they came from, you don't really know what to repeat. You don't know what to spend money on, you don't know what to stop doing, because you're just guessing. So here's an example. I was on a TikTok live, I don't know, a couple months ago with Ismail, and there was other party rental operators, and one owner said that he puts lawn signs with QR codes at every setup, which honestly is a smart idea. Because if you have a bounce house or whatever set up in a neighborhood, there are probably other parents nearby who may want, they may need one for a birthday party or a graduation or a school event, doesn't matter. So a neighbor sees the setup, scans the QR code, lands on the website, and maybe books or maybe leaves. Great strategy. But then another owner asked a really good question. Well, how do you know these bookings came from the lawn sign? And the guy just said, I just know. I just think it works. And that right there is the problem. Because I just know is not tracking. It might be true, the lawn signs might be working amazingly well, but unless you're tracking those scans and visits, you don't actually know. You're doing everything basically by a gut feel. Here's another example, and this happens all the time. Brochures. A lot of party rental businesses print hundreds or even thousands of brochures, flyers, rack cards, school handouts, daycare packets, or church event flyers. Some have a QR code, some just list their website, some just say call us. And again, I'm not saying brochures are bad. Brochures can absolutely work, but here is the question. How do you know if it works? If you print 1,000 brochures and hand them out to schools or daycares or at community events, how do you know if people actually visited your website from those brochures? Did 200 people scan the QR code? Did 20? Did only 2? Did anybody scan? Because that matters. If 1,000 brochures sent 200 people to your website and turned into 10 bookings, you probably want to know that because you might want to do it again. But if 1,000 brochures sent 3 people to your website and no one booked, maybe the design needs to change. Maybe the offer needs to change. Maybe it's the QR code needs to be more obvious. Maybe the location where you handed them out wasn't a right fit. But you cannot make those decisions if you don't have the information. This is the main point. Gut feel is not tracking. I think it worked is not the same as I can see that it worked. And this is where small business marketing gets really emotional, because a lot of owners are working hard. They're trying Facebook, they're trying Google, flyers, QR codes, they're trying everything. But because nothing is being tracked clearly, they don't know what's actually helping. So they either keep doing things that may not be working, or worse, they stop doing things that were working because they couldn't see the results. So how do you fix this? One simple way is with tracking links, and this is where UTM parameters come in. Now, don't let that term scare you. A UTM parameter is basically just extra information added to the end of a website. The extra information tells you where the click comes from. That's it. The customer doesn't need to understand it. They don't need to do anything special. They just click the link or scan the QR code like normal. But behind the scenes, that link is carrying information that helps you understand what worked. So here's a simple example. Let's say your regular waterslide page is yourwebsite.com/waterslide. That's fine. But if you share that same plain link everywhere, it's harder to tell where people came from. So instead, you might use a track link. It could say something, yourwebsite.com/waterslides, the source is Facebook, and the campaign equals summer water slides. Now again, your customer doesn't care about that. They're not looking at the link and analyzing it. They're just clicking it. So, but for you, the link now tells a story. It tells you this person came from Facebook and they clicked on your summer water slide campaign. That is way more useful than just seeing somebody that visited your website. Now here's where it gets powerful. You can send people to the exact same page, but use different tracking links depending on where that link is being shared. So for example, let's say you want everyone to go to your water slide booking page. Your Facebook post can have one tracking link, your QR code can have another tracking link, your lawn sign with a QR code can have another tracking link, Google Business Profile, a text message. Any ways you want to share it can all have a different tracking link, but they all go to the same place. But now you know which one got the click. That's the difference. You're not changing the customer experience, you're just making your marketing easier to understand. This is also why I always say a QR code is only as smart as the link behind it. A lot of people think, I have a QR code, so I'm tracking. Well, that's not necessarily true, because a QR code is just a shortcut to a link. If the QR code points to your regular homepage with no tracking, then yes, people can scan it and get to your site. But you may not know where that scan came from. Was it the brochure, a lawn sign, a Google ad, business card, banner event? But what if your QR code has its own track link behind it? Now you can start seeing which ones are actually getting attention. That's the part most people miss. The QR code itself is not the magic, it's the link behind it that matters. So, what should you be tracking? Honestly, anywhere you are sending someone to your website or booking page. Whether you're handing out brochures, track them. QR codes, track them. Posting on Facebook, track them. Google ads, retargeting ads, if you're sending emails, however you're sending out your website, you want to be tracking those, because all of those things are marketing, and if they're marketing, they should be measurable. So, let's say you print off 1,000 brochures. You add a QR code with a track link. After a few weeks, you can see that brochure sent 150 people to your website. Out of those, 8 people submitted quote requests, and 3 people booked. Now you have something to work with. You can look at the cost of printing those brochures and compare it to the revenue from those bookings. If it made sense, you do it again. Maybe you can even improve the brochure and do it again. That's a smart marketing decision. Now let's say those 1,000 brochures and only 4 people visited the website. No quote requests, no bookings. It doesn't mean the brochures never worked exactly. It means something in that campaign didn't work. Maybe the brochure design was too busy, or the QR code was too small. Maybe there was no strong reason to scan. Maybe it was handed out to the wrong audience. But now you're not guessing. You're looking at the campaign and asking better questions, and that is the whole point. The biggest thing I want you to take away, the goal is not to drown yourself in data. Most party rental owners do not need complicated marketing reports. They don't need 47 dashboards. They don't need to become a Google Analytics expert. They need simple answers. What got clicked? Where did the click come from? What campaign created the interest? What should I repeat? What should I fix? That's it. The goal is better decisions. You repeat what works, you fix what doesn't, and you stop guessing. So, if this feels new to you, don't overcomplicate it. Start small. Track one thing this week. One Facebook post, one QR code, one brochure. Just pick something. Pick one. Because once you see how it works, it starts to click. And then you'll probably realize how many places you've been sharing links without really knowing what happened afterwards. So, if you liked this video, if you thought this video was informative and you saw how important it was, then I will send you the next video. There's going to be 4 videos, I think, to this series, and I will be shooting the next one close. But again, I wanted to preface this with the importance of how important this is, and hopefully you realize how important it is. I will see you on the next video.